The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and
He missed the complete that. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard.
Hello and welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway for round 3 of the 2016 iROC HPP Simulation Grand National Series live on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Samuel Ryman and alongside me in the booth is Tanner Sharp. Behind the scenes directing is Mr. Joe Peak and our camera sets are provided by Dougie Beard. Tanner, so far the series has visited Phoenix International Raceway and Homestead Miami Speedway, where Gary Whitson and Michael Krobach have scored one race win apiece. However, now we come to the first of what is generally regarded as a cookie cutter track of the season. So what challenges is that going to pose these drivers tonight?
Atlanta Motor Speedway, a 1.54 mile racetrack, also a 1.5 mile racetrack with 24 degrees of banking. It's going to produce a lot of challenges tonight there, Sam, as these guys are pretty much be flat-footing it since we do call it a cookie-cutter track. So it's best if you, when you qualify well, say for like the top 10, and try to stay in the top 10. Hope the guys ahead of you can make a mistake on the racetrack, depending upon on how the track temperature is. But with our race description here, we have 82 laps tonight, so a little ways with a 60% fuel cell. That is about 1 to 2 pit stops in this race, depending upon how long we have green flag runs and how well the tires are wearing. And it's an iRacing fixed setup tonight. So everybody's on the same setups. Nobody has really an advantage on anything. So everybody should be run in close in times. So, man, it's nobody. There isn't going to be any cheating going on, so we're all in this fixed setup. But it's good to qualify up in the top 10 tonight if you're up in the top 10 and try to keep that track position. Track position is definitely going to be key tonight.
Absolutely. You mentioned the top 10 there, trying to qualify in the top 10. There will be 40 cars starting this race, and 10 of them got in on their points based off how they performed last season, whereas 30 of them actually had to survive a pre-qualifying round. So we will have 40 cars in the field. Talking about the points, let's take a look at the point standings after 2 rounds. It is still really early in the season, but there you can see some names have made their way to the top. Josh Jones and Will Worstler, currently the top 2 drivers in the points, despite neither having won a race this season. Gary Whitson there in 3rd has a victory, and his cousin there, Bryce Whitson, in 4th, and Eric Baril rounding out the top 5. Now you see in the top left of your screen, it's saying race over. That means practice is over. The checkered is out on our 30-minute practice session. They are about to have a 5-minute qualifying session where they will each have 2 laps to put on the time, and once they are done with that, we will know the grid and be set for 82 laps of racing here. And here we see one of our race winners heading out to do his 2 laps. That is Michael Krobach in the number 7 Whitson Motorsports machine. And Michael Krobach, Tanner, we've covered him in a couple of series. He's a very fast driver, but every now and then he has a bit of bad luck. Particularly, I remember at the end of 2015, he was having issues with his internet connection.
Yeah, he is, but when he doesn't have any issues with his internet connection, he's a real fast driver on the racetrack. I've been on the racetrack before in the iRacing simulation with Michael Krobach, and boy, he is bad fast. Right as of right now in this series, he is sitting 6th in the points. He's only 18 points out. So far, he's in the top 10 for that chase for the championship. 2 starts, 1 win, 1 top 5, 1 top 10. I'm looking forward to see Michael Krobach on having a good day today at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
We'll see how he qualifies here, because the difficulty about trying to get a good qualifying time here is that you can do it flat out on these new tyres 2 laps around here, and that means that we could see a very mixed up field like you would expect as a restrictor plate circuit. You can see currently Michael's sitting in the top spot. Now he's been pushed down a position already. Only 10 cars have so far been able to put on the time. They've got 5 minutes to put on 2 laps, so these positions will be changing the whole time. Now, one driver, the driver who was fastest in practice and who currently has the fastest time in qualifying is the number 94 car being driven by Stephen Wetton there.
Yeah, Stephen Witten's looking so far on a good... now he's dropping back into the times from what I'm seeing here, but so far he's in the top 10. He's been pretty quick the last couple weeks, especially last week. But right now he's qualified 8th. Man, the times are so close.
Yeah, top 2 right now are tied. We know it's going to keep going. There's your provisional pole sitter, Gary Whitson, but by less than and now he's been bumped. But he was less than 1,000th of a second faster than Troy Haight. Here's your new pole sitter, Jeffrey Belt. Went 6,000ths of a second faster than Gary Whitson. Now we still have a lot of time left in this qualifying. In fact, we have 7 cars that have yet to turn a lap here. But we'll be keeping an eye on it for you. Right now it's Jeffrey Belt and Gary Whitson who will be on the front row, watching Tim Knott go around the circuit now.
Yeah, Josh Jones is up there in the top 10. War Whistler, the top 2 guys in the championship standings at the moment. You got Jamie Moore, but Michael Krobach there got bumped down, but I believe he's still hanging on there for a top 10 spot. But Jeffrey Belt, that's a quick lap time for these cars. Wow.
Yeah, Krobach actually just got bumped out of the top 10. Not a great qualifying here from Jordan Harnish. Now, the thing that always stands out to me whenever I see Jordan race is just how close he is willing to get to other cars. He is not afraid to go fender to fender and have a sheet of paper in between himself and the car next to him.
Oh no, he's not. Definitely not afraid. And sometimes, if he has to, he'll take a 3 wide on you. But hey, that's just racing. I'm looking forward to this Atlanta race here today. It's gonna be bad fast. It's gonna be a cookie cutter, but definitely be bad fast. We'll have to watch some guys if they hit the wall off turn 2 or turn 4, or even entering in turn 1. You got to be careful for that wall up there. But Atlanta Motor Speedway is definitely gonna be a tricky racetrack today. In my opinion, as having experience in the oval set races on iRacing, track position is going to be key for this race. As we did see last week, track position was key.
And we saw an example right there when Jordan Harnish got up into the wall entering turn 1, and he was even done with his qualifying time. It's just so easy to drift up there as you're coming out of a D oval. There you see the circuit from an aerial view here. That the track is still turning all the way around. Basically, as soon as you enter turn 3, you're not really straightening the wheel out until you get back around out of turn 2 again.
Oh no, definitely. And majority of the time, you're actually on the throttle. When you, as we just seen in that aerial view there, usually when you go down on turn 1, you're just lifting for about a second or 2, and then you're right back onto the throttle. You can see them shadows in turns 1 and 2 with the billboard signs. You're usually in the gas in them sections. So, and then when you get on that back stretch there, you go down to turn number 3. They could flat foot turn 3. We'll have to ask during the driver interviews later tonight to see if they were flat footing it at all. I believe that if they can, they are. But then coming off turn 4, you're still on the gas and you're at the start finish line. So we're going to be seeing some fast lap times tonight.
Yeah. A 111-degree track temperature, though, could certainly not help that. However, qualifying is over now, and your pole sitter is actually a driver we didn't mention across the line there. That is Brody Hayes, who took pole by 0.02 of a second over Jeffrey Belt. Gary Whitson and Troy Haight are there on the second row, and Jamie Moore and Ty Hester round out the top 6, Tanner.
Josh Jones will qualify in 7th, Ward Whistler's 8th. Travis McQuinston is going to be starting 9th, and rounding out the top 10's Alan Young. Brian Yatzik is going to start outside the top 10 in 11th place. Jonathan Holstein in 12th place.
Then starting in 13th position is Michael Krobach. That is just how close these drivers were, because we saw him on provisional pole at one point early in the session. He'll be lined up alongside Austin Missler there on the 7th row. Behind them will be Jackie Palmore and Stephen Wedden, who was the fastest driver in practice, will be starting from the middle of the field. Behind them will be Tim Knott and Travis Brown.
Ted Emenheiser is going to be 19th, and rounding out the top 10 is Chris Ginn. Milt Matisse is going to be 21st. Jordan Harnish 22nd. Aaron Kleinhans is going to be 23rd. Danny Rogers in 24th. And Michael Koenig is going to be 25th.
I'll go through and round out the rest of the field quickly here, because they've rolled off of pit road and we're rolled off of the start grid, and it's just one pace lap around here. So 26th is Bryce Whitson, Jack Strowski and Scott Williamson are on row 14. Norm Pelletier and Alex Bates round out the top 30. Mark Myers and Josh Tanner are in 31st and 32nd. Jeffrey Gilliam and Daniel Vining are on the 17th row. Eric Baril and Lee Staples are on row 18. The last driver that set a qualifying time was Robert Barney in 37th, and 3 drivers who weren't able to turn a lap in qualifying, or maybe they got into the wall when they attempted it, were Louis Robinette, Todd Kirkwood and Evan Rauch. Anyhow, here comes the field. They are working their way through turns 3 and 4 right now. And one thing I've already noticed is that Brody Hayes, the pole sitter, he's been blinking in and out, so hopefully his connection will hold. But the Ford Mustang pace car is down into the pits. Hayes has control of the field, he's on the loud pedal, and we are racing here. 82 laps at Atlanta Motor Speedway. What a great start by Hayes. Whitson moves up to 2nd. Jeffrey Belt got a bad start. He drops from 2nd to 3rd, but Hayes already has about 10 car lengths on the rest of the field.
Boy, Jeffrey Bell was caught sleeping on that start of the race there. It looks like he didn't get up to speed right away, but able to settle in right there for 3rd place at the moment, as they are battling side by side for 4th place.
Yes, and on the low side there, that is Jamie Moore. On the high side is Troy Haight. They are battling for 4th, as you mentioned, but as they run side by side, the cars in front of them are able to pull away a bit. However, it will be a long race, so I'm sure they're not overly concerned about that right now. Behind them, in 6th position, is Ty Hesty. He's got in single file, ahead of Josh Jones in 7th. There's a bit of a pack on from 8th back, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Brian Yatzik is currently moving up in the world today. He's on the bottom of the racetrack, going underneath the number 24 car there, as that was a clean pass there. Still more side by side towards the back, even more.
Yeah, and they've already completed 2 laps, 3 miles around here. 80 to go, so still a long time. These drivers just getting settled into positions right now. Still see a battle just on the edge of the top 5 here. Ty Hester trying to work his way up into 5th position. He's underneath Jamie Moore right now, and there might be a bit of a crossover here though. Ty went into the turn a little bit too hot. Jamie takes it back, and Hester may actually lose. Look at this, he's losing 6th position now. He's down into 7th. That bad exit definitely cost him down the front stretch.
Oh yeah, but keep an eye on that number 40 car there, Sam. Josh Jones, ever since this season started, he's been bad fast every week, been in the top 10, currently leading the championship point standings. It would not surprise me if he's... Oh, Ty Hester might have gotten in the wall there.
Not good, considering they're running flat out around here, and the aerodynamics on these cars will be critical. However, the car's still pointing in the right direction. It doesn't look too banged up, and he is in 8th position after being 5th not too long ago, or at least battling for 5th. Meanwhile, the leaders have actually closed up. Brody Hayes has lost that massive lead that he was able to pull out at the start of a race. Gary Whitson has run him down there in 2nd, and right behind him are Jeffrey Belt and Troy Haight.
I'm looking towards the middle of the pack, or I should say maybe a little bit of the back of the pack, but Michael Krobach, who started in the 13th position, has fallen all the way back to the 18th position. I'm not quite sure what's going on there for Michael Krobach, but he's lost positions early in this race.
We've seen this before out of Krobach. Usually consistency and being good in the long run has helped him. He's not always a driver that's up front all race long, but certainly I'm sure he'd prefer to be up there in the top 10 at the least. Meanwhile, haven't missed a whole lot up front. They're still single file. You can see back in the middle of the field, these drivers can definitely not say the same here. This battle for 5th is still on though. Jamie Moore currently holds it over Josh Jones, Travis McChristian, and then behind them is Ty Hester. So even if Ty did get in the wall, it doesn't seem to be slowing him down that much.
Oh no, I mean you could kiss the wall, but you can't just slam into the wall. But I'm not seeing any severe damage on there. Maybe he didn't even get into the wall, but I just seen him walk up the racetrack, so I pretty much kind of guessed that he hit the wall. But I don't think he hit the wall, because since he's running real good, he's got underneath Josh Jones there, who's been fast every week so far, as he is battling, or he could clear him right here entering turn 3.
Yeah, and we're right on board at Brian Yazik, watching all of this in front, and actually they're getting very close up the hill there. Fortunately, they're able to avoid contact for now, but eventually these two drivers, that's Travis McChristian on the low side and Josh Jones on the high side, are going to have to sort themselves out, and I'm sure Brian wants to try and pick up a few of these positions too.
Yeah, he's been trying. He qualified in the 11th position, so far he's only gained 2 spots. But yet again, it's only early. We're only coming to lap 10 out of 82 laps, so plenty of time to get up there. So far, we got a nice green flag run here, and if this stays green, we could consider green flag pit stops in a little while.
Yeah, they're currently working the 10th lap. It'll take a little while, but I'm sure these drivers have that thought in the back of their minds that green flag pit stops could be a possibility. All 40 cars still on track, still on the lead lap, I believe, knocking on wood there, because we know in the world of iRacing that could always change at any moment, especially with how these drivers are racing in the middle of the field from about 10th back to 20th. I think there's more 2 wides than there are single file.
Boys, and the top four guys are pretty much staying a single file, sticking with each other here. It's kind of a good thing that they're not really battling, because if they were battling, guys from 5th on back could catch up. But right now they're staying single file, being really consistent. Brody Hayes leads the way.
Yeah, but he still is having internet connection issues, and that's going to be a problem if he begins to hold up this pack, because Gary Whitson will get right on his rear bumper, and if Hayes disappears then and comes back in the server, that could cause an incident. And so that's definitely not what they want to have happen.
Oh, contact! Ty Hester, turn 2.
He comes back up the track and hits Jones, and is flipping in the middle of a backstretch. The big barrel roll down into turn 3, he's still not done. Fortunately, the rest of the field has been able to slow down by this point, but there are other cars involved. He tried to save it, but that's what did him in. I mean, he could have just spun down there on the infield, but he tried to come back up the circuit and collected the side of Jones's car, and that's what set off a massive barrel roll down the backstretch.
Oh man, Brian Yazik, man. Oh, he got a little piece of that, but from my point of view, what happened there is the 20 car actually may have gotten into the wall a little bit as Ty Hester was coming up to exit out of the corner there, and when that happened, they just met, and it caused an accident on the racetrack. Very unfortunate for the both drivers.
Yeah, we saw that on the replay. That was definitely not Hester's fault. I mean, he was racing another driver, and but let's see if we can get a view of it. Oh no, it's far ahead here. I'm sure we'll get a pretty impressive view of Hester's barrel roll there. Boy, Travis Brown is going to be counting his lucky stars. Anyhow, the field is now in for the first round of pit stops, so we'll keep an eye on that as we'll get one more view from Ty Hester's car here. But you will see that the car in front kind of just drifts up into the wall, and Hester had nowhere to go. I know Hester at times has a reputation for being a bit aggressive, but right there, that was not his fault.
No, it definitely wasn't. I mean, that's just a racing incident. My opinion, that's just flat out. I mean, you got guys that are just racing for position, and an accident happens to where somebody hits the wall, and when you're coming up the racetrack, you don't have that much time of a reaction to avoid that. That just goes to show on how fast Atlanta Motor Speedway is, and you've got very little time, maybe less than a second, the react. So definitely a racing incident there. Very unfortunate for those two drivers, and I understand some other guys got some damage from that as well.
Yeah, hopefully it didn't seem like they were too majorly damaged, although we did see other drivers involved in the incident. Brian Yatzik down there getting repairs still. Now, two drivers have stayed out. We just saw one of them on camera, Stephen Wetton, who was the fastest car in practice, and Mark Myers has also stayed out. The first driver who pit, and he did take 4 tyres, was Gary Whitson. He was able to beat Brody Hayes off of pit road, so that would have been a lead change there if everyone that came into the pits. But my question here, Tanner, is how well are those old tyres gonna hold up on Stephen and Mark's cars?
Well, since we have the 1 to go signal, you had about approximately 13 laps. I'm not quite sure. I wasn't on the racetrack to really understand how well the tires are wearing, but I don't know. My opinion, I think they're going to drop a few positions back on the first lap or two. Gary Whitson's just bad fast. Brody Hayes has been up there, but I think tires is going to be key, and track position. Right now, it's track position, so this is actually maybe a really good test right now. It's earlier on in the race, and you can test this out to see if it actually works, and then try it again. If it does work, try it again and later in the race.
Well, the Ford Mustang pace car is about to make a hard left turn down pit road, and for the first time this race, we will have a restart coming on lap 15 of 82. Steve Wetton has control of the field. Is he going to go early or is he going to go late? Looks like he left it a little bit later there, and Mark Myers tried to jump him on the restart there and actually backfired. He had to back off so that he didn't beat Wetton to the line, and consequently he's going to lose second position to Gary Whitson and maybe more.
Yeah, it's not the time to panic right now. It's early in the race. Just settle into the pack here and just keep running your line, and you should be up in there in the top 5 racing for the lead in no time, depending upon how tires wear, obviously. But as you see, Brody Hayes underneath the 04 car for position.
Yeah, Mark Myers, I think, is definitely not where he wants to be right now. The track position only helps if you can keep it. Now he's back in the field. He doesn't have the track position. There's dirty air in front of him. All these cars have newer tyres than him, and Mark Myers is dropping back like a rock. Meanwhile, Wetton is having a completely different experience. No, he isn't. He's actually lost a couple too.
Oh, almost contact where Mark Myers was. Everybody's just trying to get around Mark Myers, and there was almost contact there as Mark Myers almost gets into the wall there as he's just dropping back like a rock. But he wasn't afraid to try something early to see battle for the lead.
Yeah, Jeffrey Belt is taking the lead. Gary Whitson was able to take the lead from Stephen Wetton. Wetton have been holding out pretty good for the first lap or so, but now he is dropping back like a rock. He is losing all that track position too, and the winner of the battle up front has been Jeffrey Belt. Brody Hayes has moved back into second place, and Gary Whitson, the driver who won the race off of pit road, has fallen back to third.
Yeah, you got, let's see here, you got Jeffrey Bell, Brody Hayes, Gary Whitson, Travis Brown, all run single file, pretty much how we were at before that caution came out. As you can see, the front 4 guys are actually pulling away, running single file here. They're not battling it out, so since they're not battling it out, they're starting to pull away from the pack there, Sam.
I gotta admit, I wasn't confident about Myers' choice about staying out, but I was confident about Wetton's. But boy, he is paying the price a lot more than I thought he would be. He is mired back in the pack, and right now in 18th position with cars all over his rear bumper, all about a wreck really. And now we finally get a view of it here. Stephen Wetton, I really thought he would be able to hold his ground up front there, considering how fast he had been in practice, but he just does not seem to be able to do it. Tyres are crucial around here today.
Yes, sir, it is. Tires are dead. So it sounds like to me tires are going to be crucial today, as Stephen Wetton just tested that out. So now he knows later in the race, since he was the fastest car in practice, he knows he has a fast car. But now he knows for later in the race that tires is going to mean everything if we do get a late race caution.
And now we saw that when the first caution came out, there were a couple other drivers involved in the incident. there are 2 cars that have gone 1 lap down. Jamie Moore, the driver who got into the wall to trigger the pin, and Will Warsler, who's generally a fast driver. They are both 1 lap down. Ty Hester is 8 laps down after barrel rolling. But let's get back to the action here, because look how wild this is.
Yeah, we're all in a nice little lead pack here. Some guys are trying to get some positions early here. We're not even in a 10-lap run yet on these tires, but right now everybody else is pretty much spreading out. But although you have that little pack there coming towards the start-finish line.
This is from about 6th back to 12th positions, I would say. Right in it as they go by a lap car on the apron there. We've got Chris Ginn on the low side in the number 10 machine. Travis McQuistron, who has been side by side a couple of times early in this race, is powering around on the outside, trying to take that 9th position from him. Think he overdrove the entry though, and as they come out the exit of the turn, he's side by side with Chris Ginn again. In front of him, Michael Kobach, who was back around 20th position early on. He has been able to rally his way back up, battling for 7th position with Austin Missler right now.
Yeah, speaking of powering around the outside, last time by, Bryce Whitson Jr., he powered around the outside around Austin Missler. Bryce Whitson actually qualified back in the 26th position. He's already up to the 6th position right now. Great run for him today.
Yeah, I've got to wonder how much these times... Oh, we've got a couple trucks off, and caution is out. Oh, Lee Staples has blown his engine, spinning on the front stretch. Has actually a few cars involved here. Daniel Vining is one of them, and here we see Lee Staples' car. We'll get an idea of exactly what happened here. It happened on lap 25 on the front stretch. And I think it happened ahead of Lee. He kind of got the sour end of the deal here.
He did. He also blinked out too, so that wouldn't help himself either. Oh, you got the 99 15 are spinning. And, oh boy, mess on the front stretch.
Evan Roush is the 15. He's in the pits getting repairs. Yeah, I think it started with a couple of cars getting in the infield grass and then probably sliding back up on the track. We'll see what happened to Evan Roush here coming out of turn 4. Oh, there you go. There's a 3-car incident in front of him, and Evan gets caught up in air, and then the rest just had nowhere to go, really. Like you say, Tanner, they're going so fast around here, they got no time to react.
Yeah, that seems like the same incident as our first caution with Ty Hester. The car, whoever was on the outside lane, I believe it was the 99 of Daniel Vining there, he actually scraped the wall, and it slowed him down so much. Louis Robinette had a hard time slowing down. He was just already there, and he was making contact, and there was a 3-car incident coming off turn 4.
Alright, now, I expect everyone should be in the pits this time, given how the cars who stayed out last time did. But will anyone risk 2 tyres? Jeffrey Belt led them in. Belt is taking 4 tyres, and he's going to win the race off of pit road. So that tells you that all our leaders at the lead are taking 4 tyres. But I have a feeling we're going to have maybe a couple drivers further back in the field who might try to.
Last week at the Homestead Miami Speedway, the guys were not afraid to take 2 tires and try that out, and they were able to stick them towards the front and stay in the front. But obviously this isn't Homestead, this is Atlanta, and it sounds like the tire wear is a little more crucial here than what Homestead is. So it wouldn't surprise me if guys would take 2 tires, but I don't know, it's definitely a gutsy call.
The only driver currently behind the pace car is Will Warsler, who was one of the victims of that first incident once Hester began barrel rolling down the back stretch. And you see that's because he's a lap car, he's coming into the pits now. So everyone at the least has been down pit road, and Jeffrey Belt will have control of the field when we get back to green flag racing. Pace car lights are staying on for another lap, so you see your top 10 rundown right there. We will be back in a couple of moments. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for the restart here on the GSRC. Hello and welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, where we are under the second caution here of an 82-lap race for a multi-car incident that has led many cars being towed into the pits. However, some drivers who were able to get by it were Jeffrey Belt and Brody Hayes, who will lead the field back to green, as well as Travis Brown and Gary Whitson restarting third and fourth. Michael Krobach and Bryce Whitson will be on the third row. Troy Haight and Chris Skim will round out row 4, and then Austin Missler and Travis McQuestrian will round out the top 10 for this restart here on lap 29. Well, we've had two decent-sized green flag runs to start this in. Unfortunately, we've also had two decent-sized incidents to bring out the caution, which has led to a premature end to the night for a few drivers, or at least as far as their race winning chances have gone. The pace car is about to pull off though. Hopefully we'll have a cleaner run this time. Jeffrey Belt is back on the gas pedal and gets a good restart here. Brody Hayes falls back a little bit, and on underneath him is Travis Brown in the number 97 machine.
Yeah, Travis Brown moving up in the world today, qualified back in the 18th position, going for second place right now. Kind of caught Brody Hayes sleeping on that restart there just a little bit, but not too much, as he just fully took second place. Almost comes up and crosses his nose on the front bumper there, Brody Hayes. Dives down back to the bottom of the racetrack and trying to go for more.
Well, the drive is been by Michael Krobach today. He started in 13th, he fell to 18th, and now he is up here battling for third. You can see he is a driver who is definitely good at racecraft, because let's not forget that these drivers can't adjust their setups during the race. This is a fixed setup race, so somehow Krobach has worked out it's something he wasn't doing right at the start of a race and is working his way back up there. He gives up on that battle for third though and filters into fourth in line.
Yeah, we have to make correction. I actually made a mistake too. This is actually an open setup race, so whatever setup change he made on his car is definitely working out for Michael Krobach, as he's now in the top 5, as he got by Gary Whitson not too long ago.
Field now works down the backstretch on lap 32. Jeffrey Belt currently leads as they work their way into turn 3, followed by Travis Brown, Brody Hayes, Michael Krobach. And then the battling begins after 5th position. Gary Whitson holds that spot down right now, but as they go by a lap car, Chris Ginn is running side by side with Troy Haight for 6th.
Yeah, I'm looking at this battle right here between the number 82 of Troy Haight, Chris Ginn here. Yeah, Bryce Whitson, who actually started back in the 26th position. Unusual qualifying spot for Bryce, but so far running up there in the top 10 today, staying out of trouble. Looking else through the field, you got Jordan Harnish, actually qualified in the 22nd position, who we did talk about when qualifying was happening. He's up there trying to get into the top 10, currently in the 11th position. What you seeing there, Sam?
Well, I was watching that lap car that they were all going by in turns 1 and 2, because he actually got dangerously close to getting in a couple of incidents there. That was Daniel Vining. Now, we didn't give all the drivers their due who were the victims of that second incident. Vining obviously must have been one of those. I also see off a lead lap now are Evan Roush, Todd Kirkwood and Lee Staples. So those drivers definitely got the worst end of it. Fortunately, we do still have 34 cars still on the lead lap, so a good race still left to shape out in the second half of this one at Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm checking out this battle. I don't know if it's really a battle yet, but I think we got a battle for the lead. No, almost. I'd still call a battle for the lead. You got the Jeffrey Belt and Travis Brown, and not too far behind is Brody Hayes. Top 3 guys who were single file pulled away from the pack. They're about 1.1 seconds behind these 3 drivers. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. These guys stay single file if they're going to get quicker, or if they're going to try to battle for the lead.
Yeah, top 3 right now have a massive gap, as you mentioned, over the rest of the field, being led by Michael Krobach and Gary Whitson. But even then, these drivers are now single file. They're all smart enough to realise that they don't want to race side by side too much, because that'll burn off their tyres and make them fall back. The first battling you really see out in this field right now is for 13th, where Jonathan Holstein has just taken a position from Norm Pelletier. Behind them, you've got Ted Minheiser running side by side with Josh Tanner, and they're actually going 3 wide with Alex Bates on the low side here for 15th. And they are going to go 3 wide through turn 3. They managed to make that work.
From the cockpit view, that looks fun, but I can only imagine from the driver's perspective of that. But yeah, definitely some battling going on here in the mid-pack, trying to gain some positions. Pretty much when you're racing at Atlanta, it's try to get as many positions as you can before them tires wear off.
I'm sorry, there's a couple of really slow lap cars going down the backstretch, and there was a battle for 4th going on right at the time they went by them. There were a couple of 3 wide scenarios inside our top 5 there, because Gary Whitson has worked his way up into 4th place, and Krobach has fallen back a little bit. Chris Ginn he is running side by side with right now. But yeah, we have Will Warsler and another lap car were kind of just falling back on the high side there, and it got a little close for comfort a couple of times.
And I really hate for Wursler there. He's actually sitting before this race even started, he was sitting 2nd in the point standing, so this is definitely going to take a huge hit on Will there in the point standings, including Josh Jones. He is our points leader for this series, so he's definitely going to take a huge hit at the moment. But I'm looking at this battle between Troy Haight and Bryce Whitson. Right now they were battling, but right now they're going to stay single file. No huge runs yet. Michael Krobach looks towards the inside on Chris Ginn.
Yeah, you talk about the big names being involved in that first incident, obviously, that was set off when Ty Hester got the sour end of racing incident, basically. But, and we got a couple cars in the wall coming out of turn 4, Jordan Harnish and Travis McQuestion. But the fact of the matter being, whenever one of these multi-car incidents is triggered in the top 10, you do risk a couple of championship contenders being caught up in it. The good news is it's early in the season, and hopefully those drivers will have a chance to fight back before the points matter at the end of the year.
Oh yeah, as of right now, if you've actually won a race or taken the points lead at any time in the first couple races of the season, you're sitting pretty good as far as the chase for the championship is concerned. But as long as you're staying up there and consistent every week, you should make the chase for the championship either on wins or on points.
But that's definitely not saying it's going to be easy to do. Here we go, battle for the lead, and Brody Hayes now on four new tyres. I believe he was our pole sitter for this race, is looking for the top spot on Jeffrey Belt. They actually crossed the line side by side there. Hayes had it by 0.011 seconds, so he will be credited with leading that lap. And now he'll be credited with leading the next one too, it looks like, because he's going to take the lead here. But yeah, Belt is not giving up.
Oh boy, lap car. Oh, that was a tight squeeze for the Jeffrey Belt there, but no harm, no foul, and almost contact. Look at this racing, Sam, coming off turn number 4, crossover move. Wow.
And they're only halfway. They've still got half this race to go, but these drivers really want to have the top spot right now.
Oh yeah, they want to have the top spot, but don't look. Do not look in your rearview mirror. You got Gary Whitson that just gained the big time right there, that last lap. But yeah, right now they're stay single file. As wow, that's some great battling for the lead right there.
Yeah, Gary is definitely no slouch, and let's see what the lap times look like as they come around this time by, considering those two drivers probably held each other up a little bit. No, they're back down to the 31.1s, which is what Gary had been running. But Gary can probably smell blood now, and also might even be picking up a bit of a toe with those two drivers a little bit closer to him. We'll wait and see if that number 13 machine is able to make inroads in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, actually, Gary ran last time by. Gary was faster than the race leaders, but that could have been because the leaders were racing. But we'll have to see this time by here. But Gary, yeah, he's definitely no slouch. I mean, Phoenix, perfect example right there.
I'm sorry, we've got trouble. Eric Barreo in the number 26 machine is mowing the lawn, but is able to get down to pit road. He may get black flagged for that, for an unsafe pit entry and speeding in the pits. But it could have been a heck of a lot worse.
It definitely could have been a lot worse. Thankfully that it wasn't. He gets back on the racetrack here, going down the backstretch as no harm, no foul here for Eric Barrell.
Yeah, you'll see what happens here. Oh, he kind of got squeezed out. the car in front of him kind of came down the track, and so he just had to take evasive action, and that's very unfortunate there.
Yeah, very unfortunate. There's really not much you could do right there. I mean, when you're just racing side by side and there's a mistake from another driver on the racetrack, that's just racing. In my opinion, that's just racing. So very unfortunate for the number 26 Eric Burrell.
Did Belt just hit the wall coming off of 4? Yeah, I think he hit the wall pretty good right there. Second place driver. Meanwhile, Burrell has had black flags cleared by the race officials. They noticed that, it was none of his doing, so he will be able to continue racing, but obviously he's lost a lot of track position. But let's watch what happens to Belt on the exit of 4 here.
Hey,
yeah.
Holding the line, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, you can see the damage on the right front right there, Sam. So definitely hit the wall there.
Yeah, I think that was a little more than a little bit. And look, it's costing him. Here comes Michael Krobach, who has actually moved his way back up into 3rd position. He might be looking for 2nd in the next couple of laps here.
Yeah, it looks like, right now he's probably hoping for a caution flag so he can go down pit road and get how many seconds come up on lap traffic. Oh, contact maybe. That made me jump. Oh man, that was a close call there. I don't know if they made contact. It looked like they made contact from my end of the bargain here, but yeah, Jeffrey Belt's definitely hurting as of right now. Hopefully he can get a caution here and get some seconds worth of damage as everybody's trying to get around Jeffrey.
Yes, the problem with a multi-groove racetrack is the lap cars who are off the pace really have nowhere to go. They're in the way of on the low side or the high side. Daniel Vining trying to stay out of the way of traffic, but the traffic found him right there. And the beneficiary, whether there was contact or not, is Michael Krobach. He's up into 2nd. And as you mentioned, Jeffrey Belt falling back. He is losing 3rd now to Bryce Whitson. Gary Whitson, as Bryce slides up the track and almost gets into Belt. But Gary Whitson had actually fallen back to 5th there after being in 3rd not too long ago.
Yeah, maybe with Gary Whitson, the tires will fall out, but I think the damage on that right front is really playing the Jeffrey Belt. It just goes to show on these fast racetracks, aerodynamics is just key. So hopefully he can get as much damage as he can on his next pit stop, whether it's green flag. I wouldn't want to really fix on a green flag. I would just try to do my best, stay out there as long as I can. But if you get a caution anytime here, go down pit road, take advantage, and get that fixed up, and get back towards the front if you can.
Talking about pit road, Jordan Harnish came into the pits last lap around, and I have no idea why. I'm wondering if he's thinking this is going to go green to the end, and he's just going to short pit and try and get it to the end of this thing. But given the craziness of the racing we've seen out there tonight, I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, it could be an early pit strategy. Pit early, and all of a sudden, you gain all that track position. So maybe it's a pit strategy call. Jordan Hart's is not afraid to do anything out on the racetrack. So even on pit road, I should add. But so we'll have to keep an eye on Jordan Hart since he pitted early, and we got we're on lap 54 of this race out of 82. So that actually might not be a bad call since it's a 60% fuel load there, Sam.
Well, watching all the action out of Turn 4 I've been seeing, I think it is a bad call because we've had a couple of drivers get the Turn 4 wall pretty good this last time around. Stephen Wetton, I think, was the one who got it the worst. His car isn't that badly beat up, but he's right in the middle of a pack. And if he does something like that again, we could be seeing our third multi-car incident here. Look at this pack. It's right around 15th place. One car almost up into the wall there. That's Drax Strowski. And boy, this is the hornet's nest right now. Troy Haight comes into the pits. Yeah, there are some cars who are coming into the pits right now.
Yeah, right now with Jordan Hardish, he's hoping that this stays green because as of right now, he is not the first car a lap down. Michael Koenig is at the moment. So right now, he wants this to stay green, and if it does stay green, he has those 4 fresh tires. He is making time up on the racetrack. So since he pitted first, and the leaders stayed out, and they're on older tires, and Harnish is just driving by everybody like crazy with them 4 fresh tires. He's actually gaining time on the field. So we'll have to see how this all plays out after everybody pits.
Brian Yazik comes into the pits. So, another one of our top contenders there has came into the pits to get service. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. That's the exciting thing about oval racing with cautions. Gary Whitson, one of our top 5 drivers, he now makes a dive down pit road. And boy, I hope none of these drivers are speeding. But look at the Hornets nest on the front stretch. We've got one car sliding. Ted Emmons in the number 3 car goes through the grass. And that's because he actually, I think, got a little bit of contact going through the D oval there, the quad oval. But is able to keep it straight, which is exactly the drivers who have pit did not want to see that turn into a bunch of wadded cars. And somehow it didn't.
And you call it a hornet's nest earlier, and it was because that could. The guys who are pitting, they're lucky that wasn't any bigger. They're almost 4 wide there.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars in the pits now. I think they are coming up to the end of their fuel run. Michael Krobach is in, Austin Missler is in, Travis Brown is in. Louis Robina overshot his pit stall. Jeffrey Gilliam has spun on pit entry.
Brody Hayes is coming in, our race leader. Oh, slide it down pit road. Hopefully he didn't get a speeding penalty, but he was pretty hot entering the pits there.
Yeah, everyone's been doing that, and Jeffrey Gilliam showed like a costume because he ended up spinning on pit entry. Here you see some of the leaders coming back up onto the track. Bryce Whitson. Now there's some drivers who still haven't pit. I believe Jonathan Holstein is currently leading the race.
Well, as of right now, I have Aaron Kleinhans that is leading the race. So far, he's out there collecting some bonus points for leading a lap. Then you got Alan Young, Alex Bates, and Brody Hayes. Actually, I think I only have 3 cars that actually are left that did not pit.
Yeah, Holstein is currently coming down pit road, so that would explain that. And Norm Pelletier is in the grass, I believe, in the number 56 car. Okay, no, he's in the pits. He may have just had a couple of wheels on the grass then.
Oh, yeah, probably, but he's kind of in an angle in his pit box right now, but he's taking 4 fresh tires, so hopefully it looks like he might be repairing some damage after the 4-tire change, but although looking through the field here, a lot of guys are a lap down due to guys who did not pit. Alan Young, Aaron Kleinhans, Mark Myers, Jonathan Holstein. Actually, Jonathan Holstein, I believe, already pitted.
Yeah, looks like Alan Young is our only leading car right now who has yet to pit. And it looks like when he does, Gary Whitson will take the lead of this race. And Jordan Harnish will move up into second. And the reason I think Jordan's able to do that is because he was one of the drivers who pitted a bit earlier.
Oh yeah, definitely, and that was a good. Now with that, now since we did not have a caution, that was a good call on Jordan Hardish. Get that track position because we're coming down to about 20 laps to go here in the next lap or 2. So that was definitely a good call. So he could probably finish so depending on how the tires are wearing, he could definitely finish in the top 10 tonight there, Sam.
We'll have to wait and see because a caution flag even within the next 5 laps could bring all these cars back into the pits again. But meanwhile, let's talk about how Gary Whitson has played this out because he has got about a 3-second lead over Jordan Harnish right now. And there you get actually the dynamic timing on the bottom right of your screen there. It's 2.7 seconds over Brody Hayes is actually in second position. He has just taken that from Jordan Harnish. Because of course the downside to pitting early is yes, you do gain a lot of time on those fresh tyres while the other cars are out there on older tyres, but once they come into the pits they actually have fresher tyres than you. So right now Jordan Harnish is the one on the bit of older tyres and that may cost him a position or 2.
Yeah, Jordan Harnish, I mean, it was a good call. I mean, that's some gutsy move that I would do if I was on the racetrack, is be pitting early like that. But Jordan Harnish right now is going to lose another position to Michael Krobach, side-by-side at the start-finish line, kind of like the Kevin Harvick Jeff Gordon move back in 2001. Entering turn 1, loses another position, so he will fall back to 6th position. And right behind Harnish, you have Bryce Whitson and Austin Missler. There's a little gap there, but right now Harnish is just trying to hang on to the at least to a top 10 finish here. So if we can get a caution, Jordan Harnish will be sitting pretty actually, because he can come down and get some 4 fresh tires and compete with the guys up front.
And we seem to forget from time to time that Atlanta Motor Speedway is a track that, at definitely one point about a decade ago, became famous for having photo finishes. Carl Edwards got his first ever win here, just a fender ahead of Jimmy Johnson, I believe it was. And then, as you mentioned, the Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon finish, and many other finishes. But here's the thing, we could be setting up for one of those tonight right now, because Gary Whitson has been losing time to the driving second, Brody Hayes, and there is only 17 laps left to go.
The lap before this, it was Gary Whitson had a lead of 2.2 seconds. Last time by, Brody Hayes gained and now is 1.7 seconds behind. So he's definitely gaining lap by lap as they go by Ty Hester in turn 3 and 4, but he is definitely gaining. What a fast whammer jammer he has in that car.
Words well used right there. Gary Whitson goes into turns 1 and 2. They finally get a break in the traffic here, so now we'll get probably a bit of a better idea of how much time Whitson is losing. But I think it is a lot, because not only is Hayes coming, Chris Ginn right on his rear bumper is coming. And let's give Ginn a shout out, because he's been up there in the top 10 all night long. But I think 3rd is the highest we've seen him all night.
Yeah, he started back in the 20th position, and he quickly made his way up to the top 10 and hung on the top 10 throughout the race. But I've also noticed from Christian, he can get a run on Brody Hayes, as I think we're going to have a battle for the lead here, because they really caught Gary Whitson that time by holy macaroni. But he hasn't been, the 10 car, Christian has not been really, he could gain on the 37 Brody Hayes, but he hasn't passed for the lead.
Yeah, here we go. It's not even going to be a battle. Gary Whitson has nothing for these guys right now.
Oh yeah, and then once Brody Hayes can get, he's going to follow. Christian's going to follow Brody Hayes there, as that's all he has been doing. He's been following him, and he hasn't been really. Almost. Did he hit the wall there?
Yes, he did.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, very unfortunate there. Maybe being a little bit pressured. Who knows? But I've seen Gary Whitson drive a beaten-up race car before and won a race. I mean, Phoenix is a prime example of that. So we all know what Gary Whitson's fully capable of doing. But right now, Christian hasn't been really able to follow Brody Hayes. So I don't know if Michael Krobach's coming into the picture on the outside.
Yeah, here he comes. Krobach is coming. Gary Whitson has already proven that he's kind of lost the edge on his car right now. I have a feeling if Krobach, there he goes, he's powering around the outside. I have a feeling, if he can keep off the wall, if Krobach can get 2nd position here, how much potential does he have? Can he be the one to run down Brody Hayes at the end here? Because if he can't, Hayes has really pulled out a lead and could just walk away with this thing right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's only probably 2 possible ways things could happen. A, you can get a caution and punches up the field back up, or we'll have just to keep an eye on the lap time and see if he can gain. But I'm hearing some radio chatter here there, Sam. I don't know what happened, but with Brody Hayes, actually. But anywho, with Michael Krobach, right now the times are the same. He didn't really gain on Brody Hayes, so we'll have to see if he catches them in the next upcoming laps.
But let's not forget that Krobach had to pass some cars last lap around, which could have hurt his time. So maybe this time around we'll get a better indication over whether he's running, whether Krobach is running Hayes down or not. You can see the dynamic timing on your screen. There's 1.2 seconds between them, and Hayes' chat has been disabled. What is going on there?
I don't know. I tried to understand what was all going on the racetrack. I think there was some disagreement with a lap car. Maybe lap traffic was in the way. I'm not quite sure, but I really don't know. But I'm looking at this battle right here between these drivers. You got Christian, Bryce Whitson, Austin Missler all over each other, trying to get for position as we come towards the end of the race here.
And Jin hits the wall, and that's going to probably cost him those 2 positions. Bryce Whitson should take 3rd, and Austin Missler may end up taking 4th place. The right side of Jin's car is a little beat up. It's going to handle a little bit differently through this turn. And sure enough, he runs out of racetrack on the exit, and Austin Missler is able to pull up alongside him.
Big shout out to Bryce Whitson, man. I mean, qualified 26th. He was actually 33rd in the practice. So whatever he did to his car, man, it is working. It is on rails. He is now in the top 3, getting ready for a podium finish pretty much, as Gary Whitson's actually slipped back to 6th place.
Now, Krobach finally took a little bit of time out of Hayes' lead that lap. He was able to eat a 10th out, and the lead is now down to 1.1 seconds. So we'll keep an eye on that, because there's still 7 laps to go. That being said, when we get to 5 to go, a caution could end it, and that is very much a possibility with the way this battle for 3rd is going on right now, because Bryce Whitson got loose coming out of turn 4, and he had Austin Missler all over his rear spoiler.
We do have a couple lap cars on the backstretch right here, as Brody Hayes is going to be catching them. But last time by, Brody actually took back that 10th off of Michael Krobach, so now it's back to a 1.2 seconds there. We're going to have to keep an eye on this. I'm really interested to see if Michael Krobach can catch him if we do not have a caution. And I believe, Sam, if we do have a caution, this race may be over, because iRacing does not have the green-white checkered. So with lap 77 out of 82, if we have a caution, that might end the race.
Absolutely, it looks like the only thing that would stop Hayes is probably an incident with the lap cars in front of him, which, given the scares that we've had today, is a possibility, but hopefully not a probability. Louis Robinette is the next driver ahead of him, and I've got to be honest, with all the strategy and door-to-door racing we've seen tonight, and to only have 2 cautions, these drivers have very much proven, Tanner, that they can put on a heck of a race here on iRacing. And as I say that, Jamie Moore actually, I think, got a little bit of a grass there, and hopefully we'll get a green flag finish this time to truly cap it all off.
Yeah, I've raced with these guys in the past and met them and talked with these guys, and they're really respectful guys, and they're real clean racers. Sure, they can be a little aggressive and all, but that's just racing. But so I've had the experience with these guys, and I know how these guys really race, especially the Whitsons and Krobach. Jeffrey Belt I've raced with before. So far, they're all in the top 10 here tonight, as they're really putting on a great show.
I have a feeling, though, that the drivers sitting in 3rd to 5th positions won't be friends by the end of it, because with 5 laps left to go now, they are all on top of each other. Bryce Whitson is ahead of Austin Missler, is ahead of Chris Drin, and you have to know that they're going to get side by side at some point within the next 6 miles.
Yeah, we're coming down to the white flag here, or not the white flag, about 2 laps actually. But Michael Krobach is actually losing time on the race leader. It's down to caution is out. That might end the race right there.
I saw one driver who pulled onto the apron and was smoking, but then he left the sim without causing an incident. Oh, we got one car. Michael Koenig is upside down over in turns 1 and 2. Yeah, Ted Emmenhitzer, I don't know if the cameras caught it, but he actually had an incident down on the backstretch just before this, but that didn't bring the caution out. Michael Koenig lost it all on his own there, a bit a less severe version, but reminiscent of Michael McDowell's qualifying crash at Texas from a few years back.
Yeah, and almost like the whole Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards incident, where Edwards turned Keselowski on the front stretch here, but this is down turn 1 here at Atlanta. So, man, that would look like a wild ride right there from the cockpit view.
So, unfortunately, the race will end under the caution flag, which really doesn't do this race justice, because for as wild as these drivers were racing, they had only had 2 caution flags up until this point. We'd had some great racing out there tonight, Tanner.
Yeah, it's been really clean racing tonight. The only really instance I've really seen on the racetrack is if somebody hits the wall, the car usually just stops, and the guys on the bottom of the racetrack, they're just driving their racing line. They can come up and just had no reaction time to get into that other person to the walls. So that's really the only incident I've been really seeing tonight. Otherwise, been a lot of clean passes, and as the run went on, everybody got strung out, and it's just been a real fun race to watch and really interesting to watch, especially that green flag pit stop we were watching, to see who's on what strategy.
Yeah, I think by the end of the race it was clear that the 4-tyre strategy was the desired one. But let's give a shout out to this driver, Brody Hayes. He was 5th fastest in practice. That being said, he was only 8 thousandths of a second off of the fastest car in practice. He started on pole position. He fell back due to strategy a little bit at the start of the race. He was able to work his way back up to the top spot by the end of it though. And if his connection holds up, he should be coming out of turn 4 here to take a victory as long as his car's still on screen as they go across the line. And it is. Brody Hayes is your winner here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Good job, Brody Hayes at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now he's probably like, hey, now my internet can fully disconnect. But since it's the end of the race, but great run by Brody Hayes. You got Michael Krobach in the 2nd place, and I tip my hat to Bryce Whitson. What a drive he had today. Started from the 26th position and gets a top 3 finish out of it. Very great, awesome run for Bryce Whitson.
And we will get to talk to those top 3 drivers here momentarily. After we take a quick break, we'll be back for drive interviews. But before we do that break, let's watch Hayes burn it down a little bit. You can see a bit of damage on that number 37 Camaro, but it held up connection-wise and physically. A couple other drivers coming to join him there. And Hayes is celebrating right now, and we'll get to talk to him momentarily here. And we'll be back with a full race rundown here on the GSRC. Hello and welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, where we just witnessed 82 laps of racing here in the 2016 iROC HPP Simulation Grand National Series, live on the Global Sim Racing channel, and your race winner was Brody Hayes, and he finished ahead of Michael Krobach and Bryce Whitson under caution flag, unfortunately. Austin Missler and Chris Drim rounded out the top 5. Rounding out the top 10 was Jeffrey Belt in 6th, Gary Whitson in 7th, Josh Tanner in 8th, Alan Young in 9th, and Aaron Cleanhans rounding out the top 10. Couple of drivers there at the tail end of the top 10 we didn't really talk about a whole lot tonight, working their way up there at the end of the race, Tanner.
Yeah, outside the top 10, you have Brian Yazik in 11th. Yazik, excuse me. Outside the top 10 in 11th place, Alex Bates in the 12th position tonight. Troy Haight in the 13th position. Robert Barney, 14th position. Tim Knotts is in 15th. Jordan Harnish, who had that green flag pit stop strategy, finishes outside the top 10. He'll finish in the 16th position tonight. Jonathan Holstein in the 17th position. Milt Matisse in the 18th position. Danny Rogers will finish 19th, and rounding out the top 20 is Jack Strosky. Back to you there, Sam.
Yeah, finishing just outside the top 20 was Eric Burrill, who I believe had a little bit of an off-track excursion that cost him a couple positions. He finished ahead of Jamie Moore, who triggered an early incident coming out of turn 2 there in 22nd position. Scott Williamson was there in 23rd, and Travis McQuestion fell all the way back to 24th after running just outside the top 10 for most of the race. In 25th position was Stephen Wetton. He had a lot of damage on his car but was able to finish on the lead lap. Same can be said, I believe, for Mark Myers in 26th. Jakey Palmore was in 27th position ahead of Norm Pelletier, and then you come to the lap down cars once you get to 29th, and that is Travis Brown ahead of Jeffrey Gilliam there, rounding out the top 30.
Yeah, outside the top 30, you have Josh Jones, who's been competitive every single week in the top 10, but I'm very unfortunate to get into an incident tonight. Josh Jones will finish in the 31st position. Michael Koenig in the 32nd position. In the 33rd position, you have the number 3 of Ted Emmenheinzer. 34th position, you have Louis Robinette. 35th, Will Worsler in the 35th position. Daniel Vining in the 30s will finish out the 36th position. Ty Hester, top 10 start tonight, but very unfortunate for him, will finish out the 37th position. Evan Roush will finish 38th. Lee Staples will finish in the 39th position, and Todd Kirkwood will finish 40th.
So let's talk to a couple of our podium position finishers here after rounding out the whole field of 40 cars there. And the first driver we'll talk to is our third place finisher, Bryce Whitson, who sit 4th in the points entering tonight, and I'm sure we'll be able to move up a position or two with that third place finish. Bryce, 2015 did not go your way, but 2016 you were 4th in the points entering this race. You finished in a solid 3rd position there. It's looking like a much brighter year already.
It definitely is, Sam. There are a lot of changes over the off season with Whitson Motorsports and with the league in general, and this year so far has turned out to be really awesome. I'm real excited about it.
Now, you started back in 26th position. Now, it was a fixed setup out there, so we've got to ask, how did you work your way by 23 of those trucks? Because there wasn't a whole lot of strategy going on out there.
Well, the key really was the first pit round there. I went in and I took 2 tires because we only had about 8 laps on that first set. So I figured it was worth a gamble right there, and I came back out around 8th or 9th place, and that was really what I needed. I needed that track position. It was really, really hard to pass back there. You'd go in the corner, and if you were behind somebody, that car would just push right up. And so, getting that track position was just key to getting the HPP simulation Chevy Camaro up front.
Now, it seemed that there was a lot of difficulty out there with lap traffic. There were a few drivers who were on the low line and the high side. The problem is that Atlanta Motor Speedway is a multi-groove racetrack. Do you think there's going to be changes in the series in the weeks ahead, considering that there were quite a few scares out there tonight?
That's always going to be a discussion. I don't know what's going to occur because of it. I think something does need to be done a little bit, maybe a percentile rule or something like that, similar to what NASCAR has. Since we have in-race admins this year, I think it's very possible for us to do something like that. But we'll just have to see how that goes and put it up to a member vote, because in the end, it's what the members want, and that's what the league's about.
So what are your goals for the season, Bryce? We go off to Richmond next week. Are you aiming to win each race? And if so, do you think you can take a championship?
My real goal is just to get one win this year. I'd really like to win me that custom set of HPP simulation PRX pedals at the end of the season in the chase. Consistency is going to get us in the chase. Speed is what's going to win. Right now, we're consistent. I don't know that we have the speed that we need, so I'm definitely going to have to work on that over the next few weeks and hopefully find a couple more tenths in this car.
Well, thanks for coming to talk to us, Bryce. We'll let you go and celebrate, because the third place finish is definitely something worth celebrating.
Hey, thank you, Sam, and it's great to have you back on the broadcast, man.
Thank you, and but also it's been great here working today with Tanner Sharp, and he has caught up with our second place finisher, Michael Krobach.
Yes, sir, Sam, I have caught up with Michael Krobach, who started in the 13th position tonight and finished second. Michael, Atlanta Motor Speedway is usually known for as a cookie-cutter racetrack. The first question I have to ask you is, were you guys flat-footing it at any time during the portion of the race?
No, I mean you could run 1 and 2 flat out for the first couple laps on new tires, but 3 and 4 you could never run flat out. It was pretty tight there, and then as the run got on, oh man, it got real slick, and the lane, the groove moved up higher on the track there. And turns 1 and 2, you kind of had to run the middle to the high line if you wanted to maintain some speed, and same deal with 3 and 4. It got real slick as the tires were off. So fantastic race. Anything far from a cookie cutter track, that's for sure.
Yes, definitely, especially when you're dealing with 111 degree track temperature, so it's definitely going to make things more slick out there on the racetrack. But we had eyes on you earlier in the race that when you started 13th, you drifted back in towards the 18th position. And we were just talking to Bryce earlier, and he says it was really hard to pass. What kind of strategy did you build up to get your second place finish today?
Yeah, so I dropped back there with a plan in mind. I wanted to kind of save my tires early in the run, and I didn't want to get up caught in a mess or anything like that in the middle of the pack. So kind of dropped back, tried to save my stuff, hoping for a long green run and hoping to kind of make some headway as the run went on. But we had a couple early cautions, so that kind of messed with that strategy of laying back and saving tires. So I thought, okay, you know what, we got to go to the front, and there was a couple of stints in the middle of the race there where I tried to drive as hard as I could and advance as many positions as I can, get some good airtime for HPP simulation and Mark Hargett and his pedals, and it worked out towards the end there. We were coming pretty fast on Brody, going into the last green flag pit stop. We were running second there, coming to about 30 to go. And I thought, if I stopped about 1 lap or 2 laps before Brody, I thought maybe, I could get an undercut on him and pass him. But I made a little tiny mistake in pit road, kind of slid past my box and had to back it up. And it cost me a good 2 or 3 seconds. And then when that caution came out at the end there, we were only 1 second back. So I don't know, if I didn't make that little mistake, I might have been interviewing me in victory lane again back to back.
Yes, now you are sitting in 6th place before the Atlanta race started. You were sitting 6th place in the point standings. This is going to be your second top 5 and second top 10 here, in a row pretty much here in the 2016 HPP Simulation Grand National Series. Our next race is Richmond. It's one of my favorite short tracks of all time. I've dominated there with a bunch of wins, but are the short tracks behaving to you lately?
You know what? This number 7 HPP Simulation Chevrolet is pretty fast at any track that we go to, and I'm looking forward to Richmond. Looking forward to the short tracks. We've had some good testing there earlier in the season, and it's been real great. So I'm looking forward to anything that comes our way. And if you're looking for a set of pedals, you might want to check out hppsimulation.com. I know I've thrown their name out there a bunch, but they do wonderful stuff for the series to support the iROC series and our team and everything like that. So if if you're in the market for some new pedals, check out their website. And, brought me a win last week, second place tonight, so can't complain.
Yes, I've also read myself. Those pedals are awesome. I've not read one bad review about them pedals, so definitely highly recommended pedals there. So, but that's Michael Krobach. Thanks, Michael Krobach, for coming to the booth tonight to talking with us. So back to you, Sam. That was Michael Krobach, qualified in the 13th position, finished second.
And just one driver left to talk to then, and that is the driver who is down in victory lane. He started on pole position, and he finishes in the number 1 spot as well. Congratulations, Mr. Brody Hayes.
Thank you guys very much. It was a lot of fun out there.
What did you think your chances of winning were going to be tonight entering the event?
Going in, I knew I had a strong car, but I knew I was going to have to deal with Gary and Michael and all them throughout the practices through the week. So I knew it was going to be tough, but I thought I could pull it out.
Now, it seemed in the closing laps there, when Michael Krobach, he would gain a couple of tenths on you one lap, and then you pull away a couple of tenths. It seemed like the biggest obstacle to stop you from winning is lap traffic. There seemed to be quite a bit of it out there today.
Yeah, later on those runs, those tires would go away from you. It was really, really hard to get by them. You know, they're like a moving roadblock out there, but you just had to manage your time by them and hope they got out of the way. And a lot of them did a good job, so I applaud them for that. But racing Michael was a lot of fun. I knew he was going to be tough.
Absolutely. Now we go to Richmond International Raceway next week. Is that a track where you think you could go back to back?
Oh, definitely. I love short track racing. A big fan. Love racing Richmond on this sim. So yeah, next week's definitely going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Is it too early to start thinking about the championship? And if not, though, who do you think are going to be the competitors you're going to be watching all season?
I'm trying to take it one race at a time. You know, it's definitely in my mind, but definitely the Whitson boys, they're going to be tough to beat. Bryce, Brian, Gary, Michael, you know, it's a stout field this year, so it's going to be tough, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, and one last question. I mean, really not a whole lot to talk about your race. You started up front, you stayed up front at the end of a race. You were the driver who came home in the top position. It looked pretty simple, but I'm sure it was far from it. How was your car handling out there today, considering that the track temperature was pretty warm out there?
Early in the run, I was just I wanted to run hard, but I wanted to keep the tires under me, and I just wanted to keep the leaders in tabs and didn't want them to get too far away from me. And when we had those longer runs, I was able to move my lineup, and nobody else had really found that, so that was a big advantage for me. So later in the run, I was used to the long runs. I had practiced them all week, so the car handled fine. I liked it, so it was a lot of fun though.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing you back next week, Hayes. But before we let you go, we're going to give you a chance to do a couple of shout-outs here, because I know you're want to celebrate your victory with a few team members, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, big shout out to Dave Brinkman and Kyle Brinkman for supporting me each Wednesday. Big shout out to Shadow, you know, my dad who was watching. Big team effort by them guys to just support me and push me through all this and to keep my head up after a tough race last week. So it was good to come out of here with a win.
Absolutely, and like we say, we look forward to seeing you back next weekend, Richmond. Next weekend at Richmond, and who knows, we could be speaking to you from Victory Lane again.
Yeah, sounds good, guys. Thank you.
And that was your race winner, Brody Hayes. Well, as we've been talking, Tanner, we're going off to Richmond International Raceway next week. I'm sure you're looking forward to it just as much as I am.
Oh yeah, I love Richmond in the sim of iRacing. I've had a lot in the official races, in a league race. I've had a lot of successful races at Richmond. The best I've ever done at Richmond was 5 wins in a row. So Richmond's one of my favorite short tracks, aside from Martinsville. Martinsville's up there too, but if I had to pick, it's going to be Richmond.
And Richmond was actually my home track for about 7 years or so, as you can probably tell by my accent. So, Yeah, I definitely have a fond spot for Richmond as well. But before we go there, we've got a hand up for mics for tonight. So let's thank a few people, including the organisers and the competitors in the iROC HPP Simulation Grand National Series, for coming here tonight and putting on the great show for all of us. We would also like to thank the makers of the various software and hardware that helped make this stream possible: iRacing.com, Behringer, XSplit, Audio Technica and AverMedia. Thanks to the team today, Tanner Sharp, Joe Peak and our camera guru Dougie Beard. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archived races and upcoming broadcasts. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel. We would like to send also a special thank you to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who provide us with our music. You can buy Eric's music on iTunes and Spotify, and Casey's at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com. We have all of our upcoming races for our other series on screen, so be sure to check those out and mark them down on your calendar, and be sure not to miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.